welcome to the Filmhounds podcast. My name is David Garlick, and I am the founder of Filmhounds, former editor-in-chief, not anymore. I was kicked out by the team, and I am here with Paul Klein, who is the features editor of Filmhounds. Paul, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. You weren't kicked out; you were overthrown in a diplomatic coup.
I
But
think you'll find
we
that.
allowed you to retain your hereditary title as editor in chief, like a king, as founder. You're the founder. You're the king.
Thank you for calling me king. That's a
You're the
great
king.
start.
You're just not the president. That's fine. You
That's
don't
fine.
get no you don't get no power, but you get a national holiday when you die.
I'm over it. I've made myself host of the podcast.
Yeah, yeah. You sound over it. You mentioned it at the top of the podcast. You sound over it.
Podcasts are the new magazines, aren't they?
Infiltrates all forms of media. We're coming for Graham Norton next.
When he leaves BBC, this is my warm up for the David Garlick show.
I want to host a game show. I want to be the next host of Blankety Blank.
We'll do a quiz at the end, maybe. I'm unprepared for that, so maybe the next one. But thank you if you are listening to this podcast. So you may have seen we've put some of the old interviews up we've done. And this is our first current podcast where it's so current that Paul went to see Wicked last night. So we want to just have a little talk about that, a little bit of review. So Paul, I was going to make a joke and say, spoilers, there's a witch in it, like I did about Harry Potter being a wizard for like 20 years. But now I know that Harry is a wizard. I don't make that joke anymore. I've seen it. And I've also already seen Wicked on stage. I've not seen the film, so I'm very curious. For someone that hasn't seen Wicked or doesn't know anything about it, what is it about? General overview.
What's it about? It's about 2 hours, 40 minutes. He's got jokes. So basically, it's an adaptation of the stage show by Stephen Schwartz, which itself is a retelling of the story of the Wizard of Oz, but through the perspective of the Wicked Witch of the West, Elphaba, who this time is played by Cynthia Erivo, and the Good Witch of the North, Glinda, who is played by Ariana Grande. And it basically tells their story from when they were at university together through to the events of The Wizard of Oz. This film is the first half of the stage show. So it takes you right up until where the interval would break.
Okay.
And then part two would be after the. So basically, the year gap until part two comes out is a really long interval.
So they really want you to buy some wine and Maltesers.
Exactly.
Ice cream, actually.
They know how long those queues are, and they're like, no, we're making sure everybody gets them little pots of Pringles.
Yeah. So yeah, you said about the runtime, 3 hours long, almost 3 hours. Does it feel like 3 hours? I know you shouldn't worry about the time if it's a good film.
Do you know what? I thought when I heard up, because I'd heard about the runtime first, I was like, oh, this is going to be a long one. It didn't feel long at all to me. To be honest with you, when it ended, I was like, roll on part two right now. I could be here for another couple of hours, watch part two. I felt like it flew by, but I like musicals. So if you don't like musicals, this might be torture.
I actually really like musicals. No one believes me when I say that, but I do. I'm green with envy that you've seen it before me, and I'm going to see it as soon as I can. I think it's a PG, isn't it?
Yeah, from what I've seen, it's a PG.
So I've got a 6-year-old who's potentially interested in it. First of all, is it that scary? Is it something that a 6-year-old, or what age would you say is appropriate to take a kid?
So I have a 6-year-old as well. Although I don't think mine would sit through it because I don't think he'd be interested in the story. I think that would be his thing. But I think it is appropriate. There are a couple of moments that might not be involving flying monkeys that might be a bit, but they're very fleeting. I think PG is the right age rating for it. I don't think it's a 12A. I think, like I say, apart from a couple of moments with the flying monkeys, I think it'd be perfectly fine for a 6-year-old. I think it'd be more the runtime that would be potentially a hurdle.
Yeah, I think that was probably. I mean, I don't mind traumatizing them, but I would be more worried about them sitting for almost 3 hours. I think that won't be possible. There's a weird trend at the moment where musicals are coming out, but the trailer doesn't have any of the music in. I think even this one, I've seen the trailer and it didn't have any of the music in. But what you've seen it now, and you can officially say this is a musical. This has all the songs in.
Yeah, it's like properly all singing, all dancing. There are big long musical dance sequences where people are, swinging from chandeliers and things. So I think if you don't like the sort of over the top musicals, the sort of Mamma Mia's and things like that, this might test your patience. But I, I mean, I saw the trailer when they tried to hide it was a musical, and it's like, but it's wicked. Like, it's wicked. Also, The Wizard of Oz is a musical, so like, it's very clearly going to be a musical. It's The Wizard of Oz, mate. But I've seen ones for like lesser known musical, like In the Heights, where they're like trying to hide that it's a musical. It's like just say it's a musical. It's a bit like trying to hide something's a trying to downplay that Deadpool and Wolverine's a superhero film. It's like, well, I'm going to find out eventually.
Spoilers. Um,
Spoiler
well,
alert: Deadpool is a superhero.
Deadpool is a superhero. Again, West Side Story as well was another one that made it look
Yeah,
gritty. Well, it is gritty, but that was an amazing film too. But they didn't promote it as a musical.
which is weird because it's like again, it's like West Side Story is quite a famous film. Like the original was like that's quite a famous movie. It won Best Picture. It's very famously a musical. I'm sure people are going to be like, "Oh, West Side Story, the musical." They're not going to go West Side Story. I wonder if this one's a musical. So it makes no. It's a very weird thing that I think like Joker trying to downplay that it's a musical. It's a musical, though, guys. You sing in it.
It, I have to say, I don't think this is a controversial take. Uh, that film was a terrible film and really terrible musical.
Yeah, no, I know that all the actors were like, "It's not a musical." Joker 2 is a musical. It's just a crap musical, but it is a musical, which is not a very good one.
Yeah.
But
Uh,
Wicked is a good musical, so there we go.
how does it rate in the more recent, or is it an all-timer?
Oh, see,
I know you're fresh.
I think
You went last night. Maybe you want to watch again, but on the spot,
I would say it potentially could be. I always like to let these things brew a little bit because sometimes I see something and I'm like, oh, we're going to be talking about this forever, and then no one mentions it again. But I think this has the potential to become a firm favorite. I think, particularly the way they translate it from stage to screen, I think they do really well. But that runtime and splitting it into two parts does allow them to sort of go a bit deeper with the characters. So there's a bit more nuance with them. You get to understand them a bit more. So I think it could be. I think this might have staying power.
okay. So, and how are the stars? Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo. I've seen them all over the place promoting it, but do they hold their own in it?
Yeah. So Cynthia Erivo, I think everybody knows, is a really good actress. She was, she's been great in loads of stuff. She was quite good in the Luther film. She was good as Harriet Tubman, and she is really good. But I think she gets the easier role. I think Elphaba's quite not acting wise, but she's more fleshed out than Glinda is. So I think she gets arguably the better role, and she does it very well. She's very good at playing those sort of emotionally damaged characters. I thought Ariana Grande was a real shock. I've not seen. I know she did like a is it a Nickelodeon show? That's where she became famous.
Yeah, I do. I think that I missed
Yeah,
that as well.
it was a little bit after my time of watching those sort of shows. But here, I was very surprised. I knew she could sing because I don't live under a rock, but I didn't know that she could act. And I thought she was really good. She has amazing comic timing. Um, and obviously, her role is the funnier role, and she steals all the biggest laughs. Even just with her physical comedy, she does a lot of good physical comedy in it. And I thought that they were both great. And I thought the supporting cast were all really good. Michelle Yeoh, in particular, was very good playing a stern teacher.
You went to the screening last night. Did you have to wear green? I think it's all themed pink and green at the moment. I imagine you're in a full green suit, Joker style.
You know what? I never adhere to the color themes of films. There was a lot of green, there was a lot of pink. There were some people in like very outlandish, wicked-esque clothes. I wore a white Christmas cardigan because I don't adhere. It was like when everyone was at Barbie and everyone wore pink, and I was like, I'm not wearing pink.
No, I don't. I
I
don't.
did wear pink to the Mean Girls screening because on Wednesdays we wear pink. But that's the only one I've ever done it. I don't. Everyone showed up to the Deadpool and Wolverine wearing like X-Men t-shirts, and I showed up wearing Scooby Doo because I'm a contrarian and I don't adhere to these rules. But no, I did not wear any green or pink. I don't think I own anything
I
pink.
don't know
To
if
be
I'm
fair.
proud of you or disappointed. A little bit of both. But I think that's just how I feel about you most of the time anyway, proud and disappointed.
Oh god, I never adhere to these things. I'm the boss of me film.
So just to round up this part of the podcast, like how would you highly recommend it?
I think as well. I think for me, if you're a fan of the stage show, which lots of people are because it's still a smash hit 20 years on, I think you're going to really like this. I think it's everything that the fans could want. If you're going in without having seen the stage show, but you're curious, I think it will be enjoyable. If you don't like musicals, I think you'll be in for a very long 2 hours 40. But then you would be anyway because it's a musical. But I would recommend this. I think particularly because it's like nearly Christmas, and I always feel like you should. Musicals are very good at Christmas
If you like them.
if you like them. Yeah, if you don't like them, maybe avoid them.
And if you hate Christmas, don't watch it.
Then you'll be visited by three ghosts on Christmas Eve.
Yeah. That's who they were.
Yeah, is that why you gave up being the head of Filmhounds because you were visited by ghosts?
Yeah, yeah, something like that. Poor children. Is there anything else coming out in the next couple of weeks that you're looking forward to, and we maybe come back and talk about?
You know what? I've not seen Conclave yet, and everybody else has, and I really want to see Conclave because I heard
Yeah,
it's a bit
same.
camp, and that is that and the Robbie Williams film where he's a monkey.
Come and see. It's busy time actually for film. Everything's coming out, so something to look forward to around Christmas.
Absolutely.
Okay, Paul. Well, thanks for talking on our first podcast proper. I'm looking forward to seeing Wicked. And let's talk again soon.
Bye.
Bye bye.